What's going on, guys? Kingdom Tilly back at it again, and today for you guys, we are going to be discussing the essence of Kingdom Hearts. Not the game, but the actual entity itself. I've got with me Generous Prince here. He brought up the subject to me, and I thought that it would be sick to actually research and kind of figure out this this interesting concept that has never really been described before. It's not something that you can really figure out on your own per se, unless you're some gigabrain freak that is just the genius, a super genius.
Kingdom, Tilly and I, we have a couple notes on the topic itself, but to answer the question was actually a little bit harder because it's so ambiguous, that word. It's so obscure of what Kingdom Hearts is that you actually have to.
That word is ambiguous. I don't even know what that means. Hey Siri, what does ambiguous mean?
Ambiguous means of language open to more than one interpretation, having a double meaning.
Okay, all right, that makes more sense.
All right, I think I used that word right. So
yeah, pretty much.
Good. Just, context clues. But anyway,
Yeah.
So in order to answer what Kingdom Hearts is, we actually had to ask ourselves these specific questions in order to understand just what makes Kingdom Hearts so important in the series in the first place. What does what power does Kingdom Hearts have? Why are there 3 of them? What is the purpose of Kingdom Hearts? Why was it created in the first place, I'm asking, and why was Kingdom Hearts so desirable? I mean, Xehanort reincarnated himself 3 different times to get it. Caused a universal super war on the levels of Avengers Endgame twice just to get the real deal. And he made 2 artificial ones. So,
it's a little bit hard. So, to kind of answer this, we have to throw ourselves back to Union Cross times, actually.
Yeah, that one has the most lore.
It's actually important to the plot.
Yeah, that's the most important Kingdom Hearts genre game. Has the most lore in the entire show. The entire game.
Yeah, for some reason they packed all of this into a stupid little mobile game. Just get the phone out of your hand, Square Enix. Stop putting shit in games that nobody wants to play. Just port it to a console so it's decent.
Oh, that's such a Square Enix move, man. You cannot picture Bandai doing something like that.
Oh, no. Even though they do have a lot of apps.
Yeah, but they're good. They're good apps.
The reason that we're getting thrown back into Union Cross is more because back then all of the worlds were actually connected in one giant world. And it was believed that the light of Kingdom Hearts was actually the thing that kept this world safe from darkness. And its counterpart, the Keyblade, with the X.
Yes, the X-Blade. We'll call it the X-Blade so we don't get confused. The X-Blade.
Or Keyblade, that works too.
That is a better name. That's better.
Anyways, so the Keyblade is the alternate essence to Kingdom Hearts. And so kind of kept each other in check. In the end, the Master of Masters manipulated the Foretellers into fighting over this Lux, or like light, pretty much. It's a physical form of light.
Mm-hmm.
And therefore causing the Keyblade War, and that caused all of the worlds to separate. Kingdom Hearts was pushed away, the Keyblade was all destroyed, and everything was not the same at all. So then darkness started to spread and stuff. So in Xehanort's perspective, if he were, this is actually something that I found new that while I was researching, because I used to believe that he thought that Kingdom Hearts would just like destroy the universe and recreate a new one. I mean, that's what it makes it sound like, but it actually, he wants to bring Kingdom Hearts and make it so that people fight over the light again and cause another Keyblade War, which would then restart the world again with the equal balance of darkness and light, and he would be in control of Kingdom Hearts, so he'd pretty much be God, and so all that stuff.
Well, we definitely understand why Xehanort wanted Kingdom Hearts. That's finally been explained in Kingdom Hearts 3. And you're absolutely right. That what's that mobile game called again? Kingdom Hearts.
Microtransaction. I mean, Union Cross.
Yeah, Kingdom Hearts Union Cross microtransaction. I'm gonna remember that. Yeah, but in Kingdom Hearts Union Cross, that one game, that one specific arc in the Kingdom Hearts series has the most lore about Kingdom Hearts itself than we've gotten in any other game, second only to, I think, Birth by Sleep. Yeah, the Master of Masters, from what I got from him, the guy is clearly, if not omniscient, then close enough. The guy clearly knows more than what anyone else in the entire series knows. He's probably the only guy I know that's smarter than Xehanort and Ericus. And if I were to even call it, I'd say the guy probably, if not created it, or was there witnessing its creation, the creation of Kingdom Hearts. He knew about the Kai Blade, knew about Kingdom Hearts, and he clearly knows what their purpose is. I'm pretty sure that's what we're going to get from the later Kingdom Hearts series games since the Xehanort saga is complete. What I can say is my point is that the Master of Masters, his purpose for Kingdom Hearts, well, he knows the true purpose for Kingdom Hearts, and I'm believing that he did all of that, created that Keyblade War, made sure Kingdom Hearts would be in hiding for the next couple centuries or whatever, however long it was. He did that for a purpose. He did that for a reason, because he knew that having Kingdom Hearts exist for right then at that moment was too dangerous if he was able to manipulate the foretellers. Then it's probably best that something, say, as desirable as Kingdom Hearts isn't in the safest hands. So we'd probably have to, put it in a closet or lock it in a basement for a while on some Attack on Titan Eren Yeager crap for the longest time, until eventually he were to come back, because it's been stated that the guys might be immortal. He might still be there. The Master of Masters.
So here's the thing. So we don't actually know too much about the Master of Masters. He could actually have started the Keyblade War because he wanted more darkness, which I believe, personally, I believe is the case, because he has obviously endless foresight wherever No Name is.
Yep.
I believe that he actually had a hand in getting Sora. Spoiler alert for anyone who hasn't played Kingdom Hearts 3. Mute this next part. He wanted Sora to be removed from this world, which is why, he
disappeared at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3.
And in Remind, we see that he actually had influence over the choices Xehanort made as a young kid, right after he took the Keyblade Master exam, which leads me to believe that he knew that whatever plans he had coming through, he would need A, Sora out of the way, and B, the actual Kingdom Hearts out of the way, which makes me think that, I don't know, Kingdom Hearts is maybe more powerful than we think.
It definitely has more potential than what Xehanort intended it to have. I mean, the Master of Masters I mean, well, we don't. Fun thing about it is that we don't know that much about Xehanort's early life. I mean, even though we've seen multiple incarnations of him throughout his life, like when he was a teenager to when he was a heartless, a nobody, an old man, even when he was like a middle schooler when he was friends with Master Ericus. But we never seen him as, say, a kid with the Master of Masters, who's clearly manipulated his life to partake in this journey to obtain Kingdom Hearts. So,
I mean, he even influenced him to the point where he would ditch the cloak, which would protect him from darkness.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, I'm hoping. God damn it, Square Enix, get the games off the phone. But I'm hoping that Dark Road will shed a little more light on what Xehanort, what he plans and what he. Like what really influenced him, but we're getting like this much story every 2 years.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's hard. You can see at the end of each of the Dark Road chapters that there's something that happens. I believe that a bunch of people die because there's 4 gravestones at the end of the first chapter, and then in the second chapter, I believe it is, he's held in court at in Wonderland. So I feel like there's a lot that influenced him into going to darkness or trying to use darkness. I think his main like personal goal, almost like a freaking Zumba. Let's work this. He was aiming for what Riku ended up achieving, the Road to Dawn, where he is light, but he can use the power of darkness because darkness is extremely powerful.
Yes, yeah. They explain that throughout the whole series how darkness is broken, but it's so difficult to control.
But if you can control it, you're a bona fide badass like Riku.
Yeah, there's like you can count on one hand the amount of characters in Kingdom Hearts that can control darkness, and half of them are Xehanort.
But you almost question if they can even control darkness. Like, let's be real here, 90% of them have been taken over by darkness.
Yeah, when I use the term control, I use the term very loosely because the whole thing about darkness is that the series just shows every single game, Kingdom Hearts 1, 2, Birth by Sleep, and even Kingdom Hearts 3, you cannot control darkness. You can't. You can just channel it. It's kind of like the Phoenix Force in Marvel. You can't control the darkness. You can only channel it and use its powers if it's bestowed upon you. It's like invoking the powers of a Dark Lord. You're basically invoking the powers of Satan, okay?
Well, let's summon demons.
I mean, you do that. It gives you the power to do that. I mean, Maleficent does that, and
yeah, she gets hardcore taken over because she relied too much on the darkness. Same with Riku in Kingdom Hearts 1, actually.
Mm-hmm.
And, you know, after Maleficent used it, she obviously was destroyed, or at least her relevance was destroyed. But, yeah, so it's an interesting power. One point that I wanted to touch on is the fact that Kingdom Hearts 1 is of course the first game in the series and probably the most vague in a sense to what Kingdom Hearts is. It was explained that Kingdom Hearts 1 is another one of the artificial Kingdom Hearts, the ones that are made by
the Hearts of Worlds. That's the Kingdom Hearts of Worlds.
Yeah, so Ansem actually took the Door to Darkness and linked it to Kingdom Hearts. So whenever a world was destroyed, rather than going to the realm of darkness, is actually instead channeled into his version of Kingdom Hearts. So that in a sense, like that's why he tried so hard to destroy all these worlds and find all these keyholes to, you know, destroy the worlds and go straight to the heart, because he needed the heart of all those worlds, which of course he ended up getting, because in the end of the world you saw what little husks the worlds were. And so it goes to show, like, so in the end of that video, that game, Ansem was actually destroyed, of course, because, you know, they had the whole speech where Sora was like, "Oh, Kingdom Hearts is light," and he opens the door, of course, and gets destroyed because Kingdom Hearts is light, and he gets disintegrated because he's a heartless, and, you know, all that light just isn't too healthy for him, you know.
Yeah,
I'm not sure who this guy is, but sure, he hasn't killed as many people as Melanoma has. But what was I saying? Anyways,
but yeah, you're right. It's
I believe the reason that after he was disintegrated by light, there was all this darkness and hordes of Heartless ready to come. I think that that's simply due to the fact that Kingdom Hearts, once its essence was used and once the door was sealed, of course, that one was actually destroyed. So I think that what we were seeing behind that door wasn't actually Kingdom Hearts, it was just the realm of darkness.
Yeah, you're right. Not to cut you off, but I like how you point that out, because, well, yeah, how you say, like, Xehanort connected the door to darkness to Kingdom Hearts. That's a very important fact, because the door to darkness, it's a very not even vague place, but it's a very treacherous and dangerous place. Like, everyone in the series is petrified of that place. Even characters that invoke the power of darkness do not want to go through the door of darkness. Riku didn't want to go through there. Mickey didn't want to. Aqua's been there for 10 years, and the way she came out, I mean, well, you saw everyone's reactions on YouTube when we saw Aqua. And even Xehanort respects the door to darkness enough to know not to mess with it. So the fact that when a heartless Xehanort, Ansem, opened Kingdom Hearts, and which was connected to Door of Darkness, there should have been nothing but countless Heartless coming through the door. But I want to point out the fact that the moment that Sora said, "No, Kingdom Hearts is light," the door opened up, and the Door to Darkness apparently was disconnected to Kingdom Hearts, and it obliterated Xehanort. Something like that does not happen. I'm like the way that the game just shows us, like, everything has its own purpose, and everyone's always been asking, why is Sora so important? Because why is he so important? I mean, if it was up to the fandom, Riku would be the main character because he had the most development. Sora, yeah, we all love Sora. The thing is that the kid is just so he doesn't serve a purpose. I mean, Ventus and Roxas serve a more stronger purpose than Sora. So it could be the fact that Sora, like you said, like how the Master of Masters want to get rid of Sora because and get rid of Kingdom Hearts, specifically those two beings. Could it be that Sora has a very intimate connection to Kingdom Hearts?
I was actually listening to another YouTuber by the name of Regular Pat. He's kind of rising up these days. But anyways, he explained throughout a video that he was talking about Kingdom Hearts 1 and really the whole series. Sora wasn't actually this special chosen person.
He wasn't. That's his thing. He wasn't the one
that the Keyblade was meant to go to. Like, there is nothing. Honestly, there isn't anything special about Sora.
The only reason that he was able to hold that Keyblade is because Ventus is inside him right now.
And the fact, I believe that the reason that Sora is so important is because he's honestly the perfect vision of a light character, really, and the fact that he's really the glue that holds the entire Kingdom Hearts cast together. I mean, he is literally connected to everyone in the series, and of course they could try to do that with Riku, but it just wouldn't make any sense with him.
I mean, it would make sense. I mean, because everyone does care about Riku, but Riku is too he takes on too much responsibility on himself. Like, he would cut his friends off for their safety just so they can walk through the door of darkness himself. He's done that before in 358 days.
Yeah, and of course he did pretty much the same thing in Kingdom Hearts 1, where he locked himself and Mickey inside of the realm of darkness, just so that Sora and the others could go free.
Mm-hmm.
But anyways.
But yeah, I like how you point out Sora is connected to everybody, and that is a very important part because I'm pretty sure that a lot of us would think that the power of friendship is a very stupid concept, but no. In Kingdom Hearts, it's actually a very crucial, well thought out, and methodical power scaling system. Because, for example, Naminé. Me and Tilly said this before constantly, how Naminé is busted, and if Xehanort had her in Kingdom Hearts 3, the entire world would be over. Because she has the power to control Sora's memories and everybody's connected to him. And literally everybody, including Sora's enemies, are connected to Sora.
Yeah. Yeah. And that kind of goes to show, honestly, I believe the biggest and most important scene in all of Kingdom Hearts history, like BBS, Kingdom Hearts 1, Kingdom Hearts 2, Kingdom Hearts 3, it's all centered around this one scene, and I'm sure you can probably figure out what scene this is, but it's where Sora finally makes it to Riku after the Keyblade has been taken from him. He's got a wooden sword.
Yep.
And Donald and Goofy are still with Riku, and he's like, you know what? My heart might perish, but you know what? This, that, fun stuff. My friends are my power. That quote has obviously been repeated to a cliche at this point, but at the same time, that scene is probably the most important scene.
Yes.
In all of Kingdom Hearts, it literally describes every single Kingdom Hearts game. Like, in the end, he draws his power from his friends. He's not really anything by himself. Like, yeah, he's kind of powerful because of the Keyblade.
But he doesn't invoke the power of darkness like Riku does. He's not as skilled with the Keyblade as Mickey, who trained with masters, or even as good as Ventus, Terra, and Aqua, who trained from a better Keyblade master. Now, Sora is just a kid that lived on an island and practiced with a wooden sword his entire life. Now,
I mean, they even stated at one point in the villain squad in Kingdom Hearts 1 where they're all sitting in their dark, dusty, probably disgusting smelling room, and they're like sitting there. Am I mistaken? Like, is this kid this powerful? And someone else is like, no, his power literally comes from the Keyblade.
Yeah, all from that Keyblade. It's not him.
And obviously he gets the Keyblade because of the power of friendship, and, you know, his friends are his power, and this and that, and...
Yeah, and the way that... But it's not just the fact that how that scene just invokes the entire essence of Kingdom Hearts. That scene might hold more weight to it than just, like, invoking the entire series in general, like, because remember, when Sora came to the conclusion, like, yeah, I'm not that great. I'm not the chosen one. I'm just some kid that got lucky because, you know, the real Keyblade chosen one's living in my heart right now because his is broken. But the fact that he came to that conclusion said, my friends are my power, and without them I'd be nothing. And with that humility and that humbleness and just being so charismatic and seeing the light when he's in the darkest of shadows, how cheesy that may be, the Keyblade responded to that.
It's kind of like at the end of Kingdom Hearts 3 in the Keyblade Graveyard where all of his friends are destroyed, and he's just sitting there crying like, there's nothing we can do. It's over. I drew all of my power from them. Like, saying all this stuff. I think he realizes that the only reason that he is so powerful is because he's surrounded by powerful people.
Yeah.
And so it kind of makes it hard for him to, I don't know, be powerful by himself.
Yeah, and remember in that scene in Kingdom Hearts 3, I'm about to get back to what I was talking about in a minute, but in that scene of Kingdom Hearts 3, once Sora went into that depression, he died. He didn't, he legit died from that. When he became despair, fell into the darkness, basically what Riku did, he felt the consequence of that. If Riku were to come to that conclusion, then Riku would have probably been amped up in power because he's so connected to the darkness. Well, not anymore,
Yeah.
but you know what I mean. And
Yeah.
but Sora, with him, when he became that depressed, he died. And that what I'm trying to say is that when he channels like his inner light, what I'm trying to say is the power of friendship, when his heart is at its strongest, like amazing things happen. He got his Keyblade back the first time that happened when he fought Riku, because Riku had a stronger connection to Keyblade than Sora did. But in Kingdom Hearts 2, wait, what scene? I've lost my train of thought in Kingdom Hearts 2. There's a scene where Sora was Antiform. In Antiform, there's this theory that Antiform is basically the power of Sora when he's at his most exhausted and darkest thoughts. That's why he channels Antiform. And in Kingdom Hearts 3, we see the consequences of when Sora's heart is at its lowest point. When he's not channeling light, when it's actually channeling despair and darkness, he died from it. So it's clear that when Sora channels light, amazing things happen. It becomes super powerful. And if Kingdom Hearts is light as Sora says it is, then it could be the fact that that Sora's, maybe he's not the chosen one, but he could potentially have the strongest connection to Kingdom Hearts. Like he invokes what Kingdom Hearts' true purpose is.
Yeah. Tying back, we probably should talk more about Kingdom Hearts now that I'm thinking about it, because that's what the video is about.
Yeah.
But there's just so much in this story to unfold.
You want me to?
Is there anything from your notes that you wanted to bring up? Any questions or anything?
Yeah, let me go back to questions. Well, I think we talked about the purpose of Kingdom Hearts. Well, try to at least. We certainly talked about why Kingdom Hearts is so desirable. We've gone over that. Then let's go over to why are there 3 of them?
So why are there 3 of them? So we kind of touched on this when we were talking about Kingdom Hearts 1 with Ansem making an artificial one.
Yes.
But it turns out that people can make Kingdom Hearts.
When you say people,
using hearts.
Well, when we say people, use that term loosely, because both people that made Kingdom Hearts were Xehanort.
Okay, extremely powerful people.
Yeah.
Anyways, so obviously Kingdom Hearts 1, Ansem, Seeker of Darkness, channeled the Heart of Worlds to make Kingdom Hearts. That Kingdom Hearts was destroyed when Sora sealed the door. And then I actually found this one out while I was researching, but Xemnas, I guess it is technically Xehanort. It's just don't.
Let's just call them by their official name, Xemnas. If we call them Xehanort, we just get confused.
Xemnas actually used the Corridors of Darkness to channel all of the hearts that Sora was collecting through killing Heartless into his Kingdom Hearts, which is interesting to me. I never honestly thought, like, how is Xemnas making this Kingdom Hearts? I just, it's all the hearts that I collected. But
not to cut you. Shut up. I want to say something. Not to cut you off. Sorry, but this Kingdom Hearts is actually, it made a lot more sense to me now that I look back at it after playing Kingdom Hearts 3. Because think about it, the Kingdom Hearts 2, the Kingdom Hearts of men, we're going to call it, because this is the one that actually invokes the hearts of actual living creatures, not the hearts of worlds. This one actually resembles the original Kingdom Hearts, and it's honestly might be more powerful than the first one in Kingdom Hearts 1, because think about the tactic that Xehanort's using. In Kingdom Hearts 1, Xehanort did not think that much of Sora. Like, he never even heard of Sora before. He didn't know who this kid was. He didn't know that Ventus was living inside of Sora. So he just used his tactics towards like, okay, I'm just gonna take the Hearts of Worlds, a slow and steady process. It will be finished in about, say, maybe a couple years or something. But in Kingdom Hearts 2, after Sora kicked his ass in Kingdom Hearts 1, and after trying to find his body in after trying to find his body in 358 days and keeping two different incarnations of Sora in the forms of Xion and Roxas, he realized, man, this kid Sora's he's incalculable and he's unpredictable. I need someone like this working for me. He tried that with Roxas, it failed. He tried that with Xion, it failed. Okay, let me use the original source. Let me actually have Sora work for me. So let's have him use his power to take out as many hearts as possible so we can use those hearts to make Kingdom Hearts. It's a more intelligent tactic that's actually benefits more than the first one. So he's starting to, and also it's also sort of similar to how the Keyblade War sort of invoked the original Kingdom Hearts, because it's the conflict between the lights and the darkness, but on a much smaller scale, because we have only one Keyblade master, not even master yet, Keyblade wielder Sora, fighting against two entities of darkness, being the Heartless and the Nobodies.
Well, and that brings another point. The Nobodies are obviously more intelligent than the Heartless, and
Definitely.
the Heartless are just literally attacking everyone for their hearts. Nobodies, on the other hand, actually have intelligence. They've got their body, their brain, everything like that. But it's crazy how much forethought Xemnas actually had in making this plan. Because you have two different scenarios, right? A, Sora kills a bunch of Heartless and
okay. Yeah. Yes.
Anyways, on one hand,
hold on. Video turned off for a second. Hold on. Let me fix that. Hold up. Let me fix that. Don't worry. We'll edit this part out. We're still recording, but we'll edit this part out definitely. Let me go to the screen.
Oh yeah.
And there we go. Hold up. Let me go back to Streamlabs. Okay. Yeah. Continue.
Okay. So on one hand, if he destroys the Heartless, of course he's playing into the hands of Organization 13. But if he doesn't destroy the Heartless, then everyone dies. So
yeah, the Heartless will just destroy everything.
This ultimatum, which he ends up deciding, hey, if I kill the Organization 13 before they can use the hearts I collected, we're all Gucci.
Yeah, it's we see that in the game, because like at that point of the game, so we stopped fighting as many Heartless, start taking out the Nobodies.
Yeah, and then it's crazy how this plan is revealed too. I'm getting a little bit sidetracked, but you go through all of this game and you get to hair in my mouth. You get to, dare I say, the most epic point in the game. I think you know exactly what I'm talking about. The 1,000 Heartless fight.
Oh, right? Love that.
Invincible badass. All right, you are literally taking out 1,000 Heartless. You're watching the numbers just rack up as you're flying through the air and sparkle raying everything.
Yep.
And then literally the scene right after that, Saïx comes and says, hey, thanks, Sora. We're 1,000 hearts closer to having our Kingdom Hearts. You're great. And Sora's like, oh diddly dear. Like, I just killed 1,000 Heartless, and
we just fed their Kingdom Hearts a giant spoon of baby food.
Pretty much. I wouldn't even say baby food. I'm talking like C4 protein powder, shoving it down their throat and making them snort it. Like it's 1,000 Heartless, and I mean, the amount of Heartless that you actually kill in the game is incredible. But it's crazy because he's stuck between a rock and a hard place. Like there's nothing he can do, like, other than, of course, kill the Organization 13. But no, it's incredible. I feel like that plan honestly probably would have worked. And the reason that it's actually yellow is because it was so close to being completed. A lot of people don't know this. They think it's just, for aesthetics or whatever. But the color of Kingdom Hearts actually refers to what state it's in. So the yellow means it's really close to being complete, whereas like the purple in the end of Kingdom Hearts 3 is because Xehanort is like trying to channel it and turning it into like a darkness. And then there's blue and BBS, which means it's kind of like a passive state right there. It's not complete whatsoever. And like all this stuff, because the Keyblade technically wasn't complete. But so of course we have the yellow form of it in Kingdom Hearts 2, which means they were actually really close to completing.
What color is it when Kingdom Hearts is complete? Refresh my memory.
I believe it's more of a bright yellow, or like a golden.
Golden. That would make sense.
Yeah. I just know that yellow means it's close to being complete or pretty much complete. Which means that if Sora didn't get to the Organization 13 when he did, then Xehanort's plan would have worked.
Yeah, Xehanort would have won.
He would have. In Kingdom Hearts 2, the plan with the fake Kingdom Hearts was actually to make his Organization 13 into husks so that he could take them over, so that
he would have the Seekers of Darkness that he would need for the upcoming Keyblade War. Yeah, that's been that's what we learned in Kingdom Hearts 3D. That's what his real purpose was for creating Organization 13.
Yeah, and of course with Kingdom Hearts, he would have pretty much been able to force them to become husks to him, whereas that didn't end up working, and a few of the organizations dropped out of high school and said, no, you guys suck, screw you. But so, he was like, oh, well, if I can't get other people to want to be me, I gotta find people who want to be me, like
me.
So, of course, that's why we have, 13 different versions of Xehanort in Kingdom Hearts 3.
I always wondered, why didn't Xehanort do this from the beginning? I mean, why didn't he just go into the past and meet different versions of himself and versions of other entities, of dark entities, just so he can make this? He could have started the Keyblade War a lot sooner.
I think technically he did. I mean, time travel speaking. And my personal belief is that all of these other goals and such were either A, Thwart he completely underestimated Sora, and Sora ended up, coming through and saving the day, or B, they're all literally just there to distract Sora from what he's doing in the background behind the curtains.
That could make a lot of sense,
but I do believe it is just because he underestimated Sora. I mean, you're this big old, 80-year-old guy with the power of darkness and foresight of just a complete god, and versus a 14-year-old who lived on a beach and for some reason thought that he could build a raft to get to other worlds. These kids live on an island. They know what the dangers of the sea is. They have 3 boats too. They have 3 canoes to get to the island. What the hell?
Whatever happened to those other kids on the island? God!
I always think that when I'm running through the end of the world, I really want to see like a floating head of Waka. Hey man, how's it going? Freaking throw a ball at you out of nowhere or some shit. I don't know. I mean, they became heartless and probably got restored, and Sora's mom is just, okay. Another thing. Poor Sora's mom, all right? Okay, everyone's confused because they forgot about Sora. But his mom is like, why the hell do I have a room full of boys' stuff? What is all this?
I didn't think about that. Like,
probably so confused.
like what did Naminé do about Sora's mom? Like,
Well,
from that whole year that Sora didn't exist, and like his mom is probably the most confused woman on the planet. Like, where did these stretch marks come from?
Why is there a transgender symbol on the wall in a pirate ship? What is this garbage? Why is there boys' underwear all over? Somebody didn't clean this. Who did I buy this house from?
Oh, we need to make a video about top 10 Kingdom Hearts plot holes next. That would be hilarious.
I can't believe, alright, I cannot believe, because Nomura goes to the most incredible lengths to explain the most random shit. I mean, 0.2 was 90% there to explain the fact that Mickey lost his shirt in Kingdom Hearts 1, alright? The fact that Mickey wasn't wearing a shirt. I mean, but for some reason, Sora's parents are just literally never explained, and I'm like, you get one line from his mom, and everyone's like, no one cares about her, or like,
right? Like, because think about it, like, first of all, we don't even know if Sora has a dad. Like, his dad could probably be a deadbeat for all we know, or dead in general. And in Rechain of Memories, Sora just doesn't exist for a whole year. Naminé got rid of Sora and the minds of everybody connected to him, and then except for Xehanort for some reason. And in Kingdom Hearts 3, where Sora died, everybody's sad that he's gone, but they're all chilling. But yeah, you forget he has a mother, right? Like,
I mean, there's a scene in Kingdom Hearts 1, you know, of course, when he gets to Traverse Town, he's like, "Where's my home? My island, Riku, Kairi?" And I'm like, your mom? That milk he slaved over the stove to make you? Like, do you not care about anything? Like, did your parents abuse you? Like, why do you hate them so much?
You know, this could all have been avoided if they did not just give Sora's mother any lines. That could have all been
if they would have just literally not given her any lines, then people, of course, would be like, oh, who are Sora's parents? But they wouldn't be like, why hasn't it been explained? I mean, there are literal theories that actually have some very well-backed explanations that Sora's mom is the Master of Masters, and I'm like, what is going on? Why is this a thing?
Oh man, don't even get me started on the theories of who's the Masters of Masters, man. I got theories that I've been hearing theories that don't even make sense, like how Riku and Xehanort are the Master of Masters. I don't think I need to go over why that doesn't make sense.
Okay, my personal theory.
You told me about this, but explain it again.
Yeah. Demyx. I think that it is probably Demyx. Of course, I'm hoping it's a brand new character that we've never met before, but I truly believe that it is Demyx. I mean, they are just one in one on their actions together, and I mean, Demyx is just such a background character.
He's definitely the one member of Organization 13 that does not belong. I'll give you that.
I mean, in the new Organization 13, which I don't really even know why he rejoined, because he hates fighting anyways, but he literally got benched. Like, they literally told him, we don't have anything for you to do, suck it. And it's like, he's such a background character that he would be perfect to pull this, like, blanket over people's eyes, like, oh yeah, don't worry about me, and all this stuff. But, yeah, no, he really could be the Master of Masters, and if he is, I would probably shit myself, because I do love Demyx, but, I mean, if he was the Master of Masters, that would just be incredible.
I mean, I know that you would probably cry tears of joy if you were right that he is the Master of Masters. I honestly do not know who could possibly be. Or maybe it'll be something crazy like, oh yeah, fun fact, Walt Disney is the Master of Masters.
My name, spelled backwards, is Disney.
Yen Sid?
Yen Sid is the Master of Masters.
I mean,
his name spelled backwards is Disney.
True, but you know, I would probably be kind of pissed because Yen Sid, he's kind of like the Dumbledore. No, in fact, he is the Dumbledore of Kingdom Hearts. Like, the guy does not do anything.
He's Moses, bro. He's Moses, and you know it.
Okay, he did come clutch in Kingdom Hearts 3, but that's like the only thing he did.
Yeah, I know. I think there's only been like 2 times in the series that I've actually seen him get off his wrinkly ass, but that's cool.
Yeah, I'm like,
one of them is to stare out the window at a gummy ship.
Yeah, I'm just looking. I'm like, dude, your prized pupil, Mickey Mouse. That does not sound as bad as I thought it would saying out loud. But no, your prized apprentice, Mickey Mouse, is trapped in a door of darkness. He's basically trapped in hell. Like, you're not doing anything about him. Get him out.
Oh, jeez. Yeah, he's an interesting character. I don't actually like Yen Sid.
Me either. Like, he's interesting, but the guy's kind of a dick.
Yeah, I know. But he honestly is probably going to become more important in future games because the fact that he knew the line, "May your heart be your guiding key," which was obviously from the Master of Masters and Union Cross times, passed down to Xehanort. So I'm thinking maybe somehow he was close to Xehanort or the Master of Masters for a while.
It could be the fact that he learned from the Master of Masters. I mean, because who taught Yen Sid? Who trained the Master? Like, everyone has a teacher.
I mean, we don't really have an age for Yen Sid, so we don't know how ancient he could possibly be.
True. But I thought we're getting off topic again.
We're getting so off topic.
Yeah. Okay, so we talked about why there are 3. We explained the 3, but we never talked about why they are 3. I mean, I guess we could just come to the conclusion, like maybe the fact that let's think about it this way: the original Kingdom Hearts, that's a very it's very difficult to summon it into existence. Like, there's so many conditions that need to be required in order to summon the artificial ones that are much weaker in terms of power. So to summon the real one, Xehanort had to create, not even Xehanort, the Master of Masters created a war to bring it out, and Xehanort just copy and pasted his idea. So
it's got to be a very specific scenario to bring out the actual entity of Kingdom Hearts. So I feel like the reason they did create 3 possibly could be the fact that the others were easier to make.
Yeah, it's got to be the case.
I mean, back in the day, of course, we had the 7 Princesses of Heart, but I mean, what about the 13 Darknesses? They didn't have. I mean, they had a couple bad eggs bumbling about, but nothing to be like too proud of. I mean, you got an infuriated shit sack and an obese freaking homing pigeon, but yeah. So I was reading, and actually this kind of like gave explanation of why Xehanort wants Kingdom Hearts specifically so much, because I'm sure there's other ways to create a Keyblade War. I mean, honestly, all he would have to do is gather like 98,000 Darknesses, and of course, they would have to try and compensate on the light side, and then they just clash. But it's believed that Kingdom Hearts is believed to actually be the combined life force of everything that exists. So if you control it, congrats, you're God, and you have control over literally everything. So it's
Yeah, well, think about that whole Kingdom Hearts thing. The one thing that's consistent about every Kingdom Hearts that we've seen is that it's the culmination of every heart that the series has gathered into this one single point. Like, the hearts of the worlds gathered to create the Kingdom Hearts of Worlds. The hearts of all the heartless gathered together to create the Kingdom Hearts of Men. And in all these hearts, from what we've seen in a heart contains... It's the soul of a person. It contains everything about that, their knowledge, their experience, their memories. So from what I guess is that if you were to obtain the power of Kingdom Hearts, you basically become omniscient. You know everything, and you're also sort of connected to everyone, which is why I'm saying is that Sora kind of fits the perfect candidate or conduit for Kingdom Hearts because Sora's connected to everybody. He does that effortlessly, without the Keyblade, without the power of light, without the power of darkness. He does that just by being him. And I think
He makes friends with everything, literally everything with the pulse.
yes, the guy makes friends with dirt. Okay, the man made a friend with a rat. Okay.
A doorknob. He made a friend with a doorknob and then forced his Keyblade into its mouth to choke it to death. I don't know. I actually, and another thing, playing on that, Kingdom Hearts is the start of everyone's hearts. Everyone's hearts comes from Kingdom Hearts, and when they die, if they're not, of course, being messed with by Xemnas or Ansem,
yeah,
it's
like
actually going back to Kingdom Hearts. So, like you said, if you control Kingdom Hearts, you're connected to everything alive and everything dead, because every heart is made from and collected by Kingdom Hearts.
yeah, it's like if you guys watch Marvel, well not watch Marvel, if you guys read Marvel comics, it's like Thanos connected to the heart of the universe. The heart of the universe is basically a better version of the Infinity Gauntlet, because the Infinity Gauntlet, it lets him control the universe, but the heart of the universe, it lets him become one with everything in the universe. That's kind of what Kingdom Hearts does. It becomes one and connects with everything that exists, every single being, whether you're alive or dead. Because, even ghosts have hearts, from what we learned in Halloween Town.
Everything has a heart. I mean, if we were living in the Kingdom Hearts universe, I don't believe this McDonald's cup would have a heart. But I mean, if me and you and all of our friends believed it hard enough, would this have a heart?
I mean, with the power of Disney, damn right it would. Because
I mean, that's explained a lot more in that. I feel like that's actually what Kingdom Hearts is leading up to, is explaining exactly what it is to have a heart. So in Kingdom Hearts 1 Halloween Town, or maybe it's Kingdom Hearts 2 Halloween Town, I can't remember.
I think it's Kingdom Hearts 1. I think it's Kingdom Hearts 1.
Anyways, Finkelstein's lab, right? He's going through and he's trying to create a heart. And he's like, okay, we have fear, sadness, shock, happiness, and then the heart doesn't work. So he's like, okay, maybe we add like memories and sadness or like stuff like that. And so he's like slowly adding more and more to it. So I feel like they were trying to touch on that, but then of course Oogie Boogie stole it and shoved it down his fat gullet. But then throughout the series, we've noticed like Organization 13 members are all trying to figure out what qualifies something to have a heart. Like Xehanort in Toy Story or Toy Box, he was there to figure out why it is that a bunch of pieces of plastic filled with cotton have hearts. Or in Big Hero 6, San Francisco, Dark Riku was trying to figure out if they could make a heart out of like data, pretty much, and have all of these emotions put into it to cause it to have a heart. So I feel like Kingdom Hearts is ultimately building up to figuring out what qualifies in essence to actually gain a heart, like, because it's been touched on constantly throughout the whole series about
it has
what it means to actually have a heart. What does it mean? What do you need? What is necessary to have a heart?
Well, what we know is an ingredient. Ingredient's a weird word, but what we know is an ingredient to creating a heart is definitely memories based off of Kingdom Hearts' rechain of memories. We know that memories and the heart are connected intimately and directly, because seeing as Naminé is able to manipulate Sora's memories, it actually changed she connected to Sora and Riku's memories in Rechain of Memories. She physically changed the I want to say the purpose, but I'm trying to find a better word. She actually physically changed the meaning and purpose and drive in Sora's heart, because Sora's heart, his mission was to protect Kairi and find Riku. But Naminé twisted that to whereas forget Kairi, your mission is to find Mean and fuck Riku.
Yeah, pretty much. It's incredible. So of course, and then Remind, when it shows the fact that Sora unlocked Shion's memories from his heart, and then of course the memories going back to them, Shion of course went back to their side. But it makes you wonder, does that mean that Shion didn't have a heart before that point? It was kind of just a husk going about her duties? Because I think that that's a very possible option. Is that Shion just was a husk going along with their orders, and that therefore the memory is what completed her heart and caused
I want to
her...
say that's the case. What you're saying, like how Shion was a husk and gaining the memories did complete her heart, because nobody's are a very complicated subject. Like they're not like the Heartless where they're just creatures that lack their heart and just become the Heartless are just the darkness manifested into a physical form that want to cause destruction. And the Unversed, they're basically that, but stronger and more chaotic. But and the Nobodies, they're a very complicated subject.
Yeah. It's an interesting sort of... It's hard because Kingdom Hearts is kind of very vague about its namesake specifically. Like Kingdom Hearts, of course, is touched upon and explained a lot, but a lot vaguely. It's more repeated what they're saying over and over again. Mm-hmm. So a lot of theories about Kingdom Hearts are completely based on speculation. And of course, in the end of Kingdom Hearts 3, in the secret cutscene, I don't know if you ever watched the secret cutscene, but anyways, so we believe it was the Masters, but they were wearing a black hood, and let's be real, they're handing out those black hoods like they're freaking lollipops at this point.
Where do you get those from? How did Riku get his? Wasn't he in the Door of Darkness for like 2 years? Where do you get that hoodie from?
We don't talk about it.
Did Aqua give him that when he visited her? Like, oh hey Aqua, how long you been here for? Oh, about 9, 8 years now. Hey, you want this hoodies for protecting me from these darkness demon Heartless, these supercharged Heartless? Oh yeah, I appreciate that, thank you. Where do you get that from? Oh yeah, here Mickey, you have one too. It actually has a hole for your ears too.
Yeah, it's made perfectly for you, and I don't know why I have it. So here you go. But we believe it's the Master of Masters, and he, of course, is looking at the moon and makes like the heart symbol. So can you change or create the Kingdom Hearts from something like the moon? Can you cause the moon to have a heart or become like Kingdom Hearts? Like
that might be
crazy.
That might be a cool topic for the Kingdom Hearts games, like not just like understanding like what a heart is, but actually giving hearts to actually creating life by giving them a heart, because that's a cool idea. Like giving the moon a heart, what kind of consequences would that be? Like you're basically playing God because you're giving life, breathing life into inanimate objects. Because we've seen crazy stuff have hearts. We've seen a doorknob have a heart for God's sakes. And toys and ghosts, monsters, and all that. So that could be a cool topic.
Yeah. Do you have any other questions on your list? I think we've gone over all of my my notes.
Okay, let's see. We've covered why is there 3. We just covered that. We covered. Did we cover the purpose?
Yeah. We went over the purpose.
And and we definitely did why Kingdom Hearts is so desirable. Okay, I just got one more. What does Kingdom Hearts do? Like what does it do? What happens when you obtain it? we did touch this subject when we were just talking about this. We said like obtaining Kingdom Hearts basically gives you connections to everybody, makes you omniscient. But let's say but when Xehanort corrupted Kingdom Hearts and basically invoked it with the power of darkness or whatever, and he tried to connect himself to it. What kind of repercussions would that have had? What exactly outside of interference with another human being? Because the Kingdom Hearts' real purpose was never to be connected to anybody, according to what the Master said. But what exactly does it do? Is it at the in Kingdom Hearts X Union X? I keep forgetting the name.
Microtransactions.
Huh?
Microtransactions.
Right. In Kingdom Hearts microtransactions, it's been stated that Kingdom Hearts protects this one world and all the other worlds connected to it, but from the darkness. And from what we can tell, darkness and light are primordial forces that existed since the beginning of time. So, is Kingdom Hearts might be light, but what?
So what I believe, I did hear, I do remember this from Kyrie's 3,000-year-old grandma talking to her. She's like, I think it was from Kyrie's grandma. Either that or is from Kingdom Hearts microtransactions. But it explains that at one point the world was 100% light, and that darkness actually formed within people's hearts because people are evil, and so when people like decide like I believe when they like turned evil, all of a sudden this dark force started to come from them. So that is how darkness was born. So I believe that, of course, Kingdom Hearts, the protector, would be completely light. But I mean, I couldn't find anything on this in my research, my 20 minutes of research. But if Xehanort had taken control of it, would he be able to really do anything with it? Because of course, all of his intentions really are darkness. Would he be able to change? Like, is it possible to change what Kingdom Hearts actually is when it's corrupted? Would it be able to enhance the power of darkness per se? These are obviously just kind of speculations and not backed up by any facts or anything. But I believe that if Xehanort had gotten control of Kingdom Hearts, he probably honestly would have wiped everyone from the battlefield that day, everyone who knew anything. And then
if once you get your hands on Kingdom Hearts, it would have been over.
And then forced or like started handing out Keyblades, and then talking about how the light is desirable and this and that, kind of play a Master of Masters on everyone to start another Keyblade war, because once again that's his intentions. But it brings me to a question: if getting Kingdom Hearts makes him God, why can't he just like restart the universe at that point? Why can't he do a Thanos, snap his fingers, and next thing you know, 2 minutes post Keyblade War all of a sudden happens, and all of the worlds are separated. There's only darkness, and there's an exact balance of light and dark. Because, of course, I mean, Xehanort obviously knows quite a bit about Kingdom Hearts, but his goal isn't to use Kingdom Hearts to do that, like snap and create the equilibrium, because otherwise, he would have been able to do that. Or if I believe that if he was able to do that, that would have been his main goal, not to start a Keyblade War. Why would he want to start a Keyblade War if he could just get what he wants like that? So I believe that there are limitations to what Kingdom Hearts can do. Of course, like, people claim that you're God once you get it, but obviously a God with his hands tied behind his back or something like that, you know?
Yes, Xehanort was definitely limited in power when he claimed to have Kingdom Hearts. And from what we've seen, but I like your theory, and that does make a lot of sense considering that in execution, Xehanort definitely falls flat. But just from the fact of build up and hype behind it, that doesn't necessarily make sense to me because the fact that, well, think about it, Xehanort went through the trouble of creating two fake versions of Kingdom Hearts, both universal when it comes to their power and still weaker than the original one. And it reincarnated himself 3 times just so they can get a chance to have at least one of them. So I don't want to think of the fact that, yeah, Kingdom Hearts did kind of fall flat with Xehanort. Maybe it's the fact that Xehanort just wasn't meant to use Kingdom Hearts in that fashion. Because the purpose of Kingdom Hearts back in Kingdom Hearts microtransactions, the Kingdom Hearts was meant to protect the world from the darkness. So actually corrupting it with darkness, that probably, maybe that's sort of like it was battling its intentional programming in some way, shape, and or form. To whereas like it's struggling to. Because Xehanort was kind of breaking the rules. He was powerful enough to change the rules of Kingdom Hearts. Let's look at it like that, and it kind of weakened Kingdom Hearts to a degree. So I want to think of as Kingdom Hearts at its purest form, because think about it, we've never seen Kingdom Hearts fully ready ever. But at Kingdom Hearts at its purest form, when it's finally complete, when it's Golden Heart form, we have no idea what kind of power that bestows upon someone. For all we know, maybe Sora, because Sora seems to have the best. He invoked Kingdom Hearts. Sora is Kingdom Hearts. We're just gonna say, because let's say Sora were to gain the power of Kingdom Hearts at its purest form, he would be not even just omniscient, he would be possibly omnipotent. He would be able to not just be connected to everybody, but able to do everything. And I mean, everything that everyone is able to do. He'd be able to channel the power of darkness, but at its purest form, to where it's not evil. Because people confuse the power of darkness for being evil when it's not. It's been stated in the lore that darkness is not evil. The people that use the power of darkness are the ones that are evil. Like Maleficent, Xehanort, the Heartless are evil. But no, the darkness is not evil. Even Yen Sid admitted that. But Kingdom Hearts, it should be able to use I think what Kingdom Hearts does, it uses the power of the two primordial forces. It uses the both power of light and the power of darkness at their purest and most benevolent form. It uses light as its highest capacity and darkness at its most gentle capacities, to whereas it's not a malevolent force, it's benevolent. Darkness is used for the power, used for good. Like how Riku uses. Riku in Kingdom Hearts 2 used the power of darkness for good, and that's his whole shtick. He's a dark hero. So
yeah. It's hard to speculate without having any knowledge of what the true Kingdom Hearts is actually capable of, because honestly, obviously we know what Xehanort's goals are, and we know that if he gets Kingdom Hearts, he can accomplish those goals.
Mm-hmm.
But I mean, to what extent does he have powers? Would he be able to do literally anything he wants? Or maybe the fact that he has a sort of Sora moment, and when he restarts the universe, it breaks a nature taboo, and he is sent to another dimension without any powers. There's just so many things that we could theorize on that we really don't have any information to back.
Yeah, this is all very limited information we're running on, guys. Because the thing away Kingdom Hearts likes to work, how Square Enix likes to make things, they love to give us a bunch of games, to whereas they expand the lore of the Kingdom Hearts cast and the lore. They like to explain the lore of the Keyblade, but not Kingdom Hearts itself.
Pretty much, it's a counterpart.
Yeah. I think maybe that's what's happening after the Xehanort saga. Like the whole Xehanort saga, we expanded the lore of the Keyblade, Kingdom Hearts' counterpart. But maybe in the next saga, we're finally gonna learn what the hell Kingdom Hearts is.
Possibly. I mean, we obviously have the foretellers coming, and they have probably the most knowledge of Kingdom Hearts.
Yeah.
Because they were there when it was at its fullest and when it was destroyed, of course.
Yeah, because I think about it, like Xehanort's very intelligent. He's top 5 most intelligent characters we've seen in a series so far, but whether or not his knowledge of Kingdom Hearts is actually fairly limited compared to, say, all these characters that seen Kingdom Hearts at its purest form, like the Master of Masters and the Foretellers and the Dandelions. They've all seen Kingdom Hearts at its purest form.
Yeah. I believe that's really all the topics, though. Is that correct? Have we gone over everything?
Yeah, I went through all my questions. That's it.
All right, I think I'm finished with my notes too. So
I guess we're done with the video. Yeah.
What was that?
Yeah, we're done with the video.
All right. Thank you guys for stopping by. I'm here with Generous Prince. I'm Kingdom Tilly. Please like, comment, subscribe. Slap him in the face sometime. He deserves it. Anyways, without further ado, I've been Kingdom Tilly, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace.